Welcome back to another edition of Idle News. So I'm Dr. Robin Sargent, and today we're going to go ahead and start with the newest thing that came out. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but Microsoft is building a quantum computer. So it's not just sci-fi anymore. It's their latest breakthrough. It's called Majorana 1. Did I say that? Majorana 1, and it could change how we process information forever. So I don't know. Are you familiar with quantum computing? And if not, and why should you care? But basically, it's like if you think of regular computers, you could think of them as really fast librarians, right? They can flip through books one page at a time. But a quantum computer, that's like they can read every book in the library instantly at the same time. So this is massive computing power, smarter AI, learning systems that can instantly adjust to individual needs, better predictions. And that's really the power of quantum computing, is its predictive capabilities. So just how big and how powerful this is, we really just have no clue. But the fact that they've actually made a chip and it is quantum is super, super cool. And I wanted to make sure that I got it out in front of you if you did not catch that in the news. But it would mean things like hyper-personalized learning, smarter data analytics, and even faster AI-driven coaching. Along the same vein, I want to bring up that the corporate learning industry, it's already currently worth $340 billion. It's also going a major transformation now. Of course, this has been happening. It kind of started early last year, but I really want to bring it to your attention. And that is, of course, the center of it all is these autonomous learning platforms. Now, they are different from a learning management system, which is like that static compliance training. You know what you do with an LMS, right? You just load your stuff up there, and then you load your users and you tell them that they have to do it or else. And instead of these rigid courses and these rigid pathways and manual tracking, these autonomous learning platforms are using AI-driven curation, real-time coaching, and personalized learning paths. So some of the big players are Microsoft Viva, LinkedIn Learning Hub, Workday Learning, and these are platforms that are already shifting to this model. And so really it's just an adaptive learning engine, which also, of course, affects the way that we would create learning content, right? Because we would need it to be able to fit into these autonomous learning modalities so that when they pull up content that's personalized, it's not out of place, so to speak, right? They're not jumping into the middle, but we are creating multiple different little micro learnings so that they can be adaptive for the learner. So we're talking about Netflix style learning experience. Is your organization adapting to these autonomous learning platforms? If so, let me know in the comments. Just along the same lines, the numbers are in, and let's just say e-learning isn't slowing down anytime soon. According to a brand new market report, the e-learning industry is on track to skyrocket to a massive $487 billion by 2029. I mean, you thought that 240 billion was a lot, but it is going to more than double by 2029. And it was just, 240 in 2023. So what's up with this learning gold rush? This report here actually breaks down the key forces making e-learning one of the fastest growing industries in the world. Of course, the mobile learning explosion, right? More learners are using learning on the go. That's not too new, but that's part of the contributing factor to this huge surge in growth in our industry. AI-powered training, it's just making it more and more accessible. The platforms are getting smarter, real-time coaching, and adaptive content. The corporate learning and development investments, I think that also contributes to the large amount of growth that is happening in our industry. Companies aren't just checking compliance boxes anymore. They are doubling down on digital training because skills are the new currency of the future. Along the same thing, I just found another market report, and it says that in this field, it's also learning analytics specifically are rising. This new market report reveals that education learning analytics is projected, just the learning analytics industry is projected to skyrocket to 42.7 billion. That's just learning analytics. So that's the niche in a niche, right? And that should happen by 2032. And that's a huge jump. And that major shift, of course, is data-driven personalized learning. See how it's all being tied together into personalized learning, AI, and the advancements in the technology of our field. And so you'll even see like what are the things that companies are looking for besides like critical thinking skills. They're thinking about people who can make data-driven decisions, and it's no difference in our own industry, right? And so big players in learning analytics are Microsoft and Oracle, right? They are integrating these AI-powered analytics into their learning solutions. Google and IBM, they are also investing in deep learning models to analyze skill progression and, of course, to predict these learning outcomes. And there are several different ed tech platforms that are also adding and contributing to this increase in the learning analytics. So the translation really is, if your L&D strategy isn't including analytics, it is majorly outdated and, of course, like not up with our professional standards. And so I'm curious, let me know in the comments, how is your organization using learning analytics to measure success? Let me know if you're using anything new or any other new technology to drive your analytics in your reporting. I have to bring this up. I saw this and I just thought, woof, that's a hard one. And I think that we need to talk about it. Public education in the U.S. is facing a crisis. According to a new Gallup survey, satisfaction with public schools has plummeted to a record low, with only 36% of Americans satisfied with the education system, right? That is a huge drop. And so what's behind the decline? Well, this is also relevant for us as professional learning and development professionals. And according to the report, the biggest concerns, they include a lack of career readiness. Yeah, so schools aren't preparing their students with real world skills. There it is again. Political influence, so just the growing frustration over what's being taught and who decides what's being taught in the classroom. And then the teacher shortages, and I don't see that changing. I only see that getting worse over time. And that, of course, is a result of burnout and low pay. And those are, and many other reasons are driving teachers out of the profession. If you have other reasons why teachers are leaving the profession, please leave it in the comments. Why does this matter for us as learning and development professionals? Because this dissatisfaction with the public education system is fueling big shifts in how and where people learn. So there's the rise of the alternative learning paths, right? So more students and professionals, they're skipping traditional education. They're going to trade schools, apprenticeships, online career programs, corporate upskilling over degrees, right? Employers are now relying less on degrees and more on skills-based hiring, right? And so that goes back to like why data and analytics are so important and why the corporate e-learning industry is growing at such a rapid pace, because you still need talent. You still need talent that can do the work. And who is the onus being shifted to? And that is the companies. And that, of course, is the L&D professionals that are making sure that people have the skills that these companies need to drive revenue and like innovation, right? All right. So in the LinkedIn news world, I saw something cool by Tanya Beniquez, right? And she just talks about how AI is making e-learning development faster than ever. And she showed a great example of using a GPT, right? So a custom bot that was actually created by one of our own Idle Academy alumni, Michael Song. and he is actually located over in Cambodia, and he created this GPT to speed up storyboarding and actually creating 360 scenarios for learning projects. And so what's great about it is she actually went through using the process of using the GPT and then some other tools such as I think it's called Artistly. Yeah, Artistly AI. So you can actually go and check out her whole video. You can get the link to the GPT and see just how she used the GPT to get the scenario ideas, to do the brainstorming, to write the storyboards, to generate the images. And then she took the images and she put it into Artistly AI and customized each of the image outputs so that she could show a progression. And I think it was like a baking thing, right? So progression of what it looks like inside the bowl. And it looks really, really good. And so you can go and check all of that out and her suite of tools. So I thought that was something cool I saw on LinkedIn this week. The other thing that I found on LinkedIn is by Elizabeth Zandstra. Sorry, Elizabeth. And then I think, it's just a good reminder what she posted about how learners don't disengage because they're lazy, right? They check out because the learning isn't working for them. So if your training isn't connecting, motivating, or leading to action, here's how to fix it. And so she just says some basic things, and I want to share them with you. Cut the fluff, focus on what actually helps the learners achieve the goal, get the learners involved, make them think, interact, apply, design for action. If training doesn't change behavior, what's the point? Be strategic, use the right solution for the right content, use scenarios, simulations, and hands-on practice. As you know, I'm a huge proponent of the deliberate practice model and putting the problem at the center. And she also says, make it personal, connect to real experiences and emotions, provide regular and constructive feedback to help learners grow, and design for inclusivity and make it interesting and relevant. You can go check out her whole post and give her a follow on LinkedIn. So my question to you, of course, is what's one change that you've made to improve learner engagement? Was it any of these things that Elizabeth mentions, or is it something else that you like to keep in mind? Feel free to drop that in the comments. And then kind of a clever thing I found on LinkedIn was this little post about memorization, right? And it was by Lauren Waldman. I think she calls herself the Learning Pirate. And her real question in her post is, are your learning programs designed for memorization, or are they built for real world adaptability? And I think that's a theme that's been through the news, through the LinkedIn posts, and even in the clever one, right? Is your education leading to real skills that can be applied in the workforce, right? That is what people care about. That's what we as learning and development professionals should care about. And it is not about memorization. And so I wanted to throw that one in there. I also found a funny thing over on Reddit. The thread was, I asked ChatGPT to roast the instructional design Reddit. And, the first post was kind of clever. But then I scrolled down and I found this one that was roasting the gatekeeping that actually happens in instructional design. And I thought it was the most clever of all of the Reddit comments. And basically she says, actually, I don't know if it's a she. They say that the gates of instructional design are rattling and the gatekeepers are nervous. And so what she did was she actually dragged the entire industry, calling out the idea that former teachers can't hack it in corporate learning and development. And what she says is hilarious and also painfully true. She said, you don't understand corporate learning because apparently managing a classroom, its engagement, adapting instruction, and meeting state mandated outcomes is nothing like aligning with business needs. Oh no. Can't handle instructional design software because designing an entire learning ecosystem for 30 kids per class isn't real instructional design now, is it? But making a storyline button change colors, mastery. Need another master's degree because years of teaching, writing curriculum, and assessing learning gaps isn't enough. but a LinkedIn certificate, oh, that's the golden ticket. And she says a couple other fun things about how e-learning looks like something that was created in PowerPoint in 2008. And she says that really these gatekeepers are very silly, especially since, the fact that if we are saying that somebody who learns storyline in a week is going to take over our jobs, well, then maybe we weren't that untouchable to begin with. So you can go check out that Reddit post, give yourself a little giggle. I know I did. And just the last couple things I want to mention to you is that if you're interested in instructional design, you don't know where to start, you don't know how to enter the field, you have to make a portfolio but not sure what to include in it, go check out our free Become an Idle challenge. You can find it at idlecourses.com/live challenge. It's a free 5-day course, and it not only will introduce you to our entire field of instructional design, but it is hands-on practical application of what you need to do and how you need to do it in order to start building your portfolio. Don't forget, we also have Idle Presents. We are taking and hosting webinars and workshops from some of the greatest minds in our industry. You can go and sign up. And when you sign up for the next webinar, you also get access to a library of all the recordings from the Idle Presents initiative. And you can find and register for these webinars at idlecourses.com/presents. So I will be back in 2 weeks with another session of Idle News. So make sure to join me, and I will see you in